Julie here with Sirius Dallas Moon Mercury Hour. We are stepping into a Monday. Um, not yet. 18 minutes to the hour of the moon where we can honor Celine, Diana, and all the good moon goddesses of courage and growth. Meanwhile, two malefics ruling ascendant and midheaven, ascendant with Mars, all ruled by 29 degrees Saturn, Jupiter in the 6th house, and the moon in the 10th in Scorpio. Fantastic malefic election to talk about the music. Why is the music so fucking good right now? Sophia Isela, about to drop a new album. Paris Paloma. How come the music is so fucking good? We didn't have that, not even in the 90s. We had some moments. We had TLC dropping the cap. We had Mariah Carey dropping Tommy Mottola. But we ain't had this type of music. And the question as an astrologer is, of course, how come? Venus is on the degree where the solar eclipse will take place, 28 degrees Aquarius. She was just finishing up a square with Uranus. Now, the entire Uranus in Taurus was fascinating. The middle decan, we had the Renaissance albums. We had Darren Hayes going very publicly out of the closet. The interesting musical moments. Of course, Uranus going through a Venus sign is going to give us rebellious music in some way. This is where we found out that country was not white. This is also where we had black music industry being exposed. The Diddler, Jay-Z. Now, there's another thing coming up. I saw somebody was, mama, talking about Tina Knowles looking so much like Tina Turner, and they do look so much alike. Again, Eris in the background in Andromeda constellation, re-included discussion about cloning project, exposure of the Epsteins as the cloning farm, as the MK Ultra, as the occult, as the business sector. Okay, it's a different type of thing than the list. And then in the meantime, we have music that's so fucking good. Definitely Eurus is doing its thing in the decan of spirit and matter. Now, I have a lot of spirit there on the 22. By the way, if y'all seen BitChute, okay, Rockefeller Astral League, Jupiter Point of Dallas, Spirit of Matter, when they were trying the techno-robotic thing on me, which they basically hacked the nervous system, I was giving homage to Sophia Isela. And she has planets in my 12th house, so it took a delay until her Pluto and Mars are besieging my midheaven. So it took a delay because every time I would forget the name. But I was like, yeah, this happened to her. I know what she's singing about. And so... לא, מה פתאום, ברור. Yeah. קפה. Okay, I was unclear. Let's fix that. I don't want to be perceived as mixed signals when I want my coffee. Here it is. There's times where we want to be understood. Yeah. By the way, I got a copyright strike on a video when I was talking about plagiarism because there was this Arab Jeep playing music, very loud music. So, hey, if you like that music, please support the artists. But I did not intend to play 3:30 a.m. such loud music that overwhelms my voice. So, Uranus, rebellious music. Rebellious. Now, Uranus is also Kundalini rise. If you're asking me for a chart, people are not asking for a chart, they're asking for a collabo. I don't have an agent. We need to clear out the peterings before any such thing can happen. um, and before looking at charts, and so definitely Uranus at the Beta Persei decan of Taurus is bringing out, and I know these are just two names out of, it's the woman that sings about Lilith, the Choose the Bear video. Okay, definitely Uranus is doing its thing around Beta Persei. Pluto in Aquarius adding to the flavor. Saturn Pisces gives us those mythical themes. Okay, Aaliyah had Saturn in Pisces. I think also Bjork. I saw Aurora opened another channel with Tom Aurora. First of all, Uranus, the deacon of spirit and matter, around Beta Persei. Yeah, that's the music. Yeah. Okay. בסדר. And Beta Persei is basically exactly the themes that we hear in those songs. Saturn in Pisces gives us the religious flavor. If you hear number 3117 by Sofia Isela, is that heavyweight religious that no religion can get away with. Thank you. That no religion can get away with. Pluto in Aquarius, the voice of the underdog. Who is the actual underdog? Now, definitely outer planet in Venus sign, Aries in the last decan of Aries. Later, I'm recording. With Chiron. Chiron, Aries, the wound around sovereignty. I'm recording, please stop. Whoa. Ipo? Yofi. Okay, the cat is found. It's usually what happens. I remember I worked at a credit card company, and the people were asking for a loan. Okay, so they wanted the credit for a loan, and sometimes we would get the ID, and a person doesn't have the credit score for a loan. Then you see a couple of 7, 8 people like that. Then a person says, "Well, it's not true. My credit score is fine." And they're like, come on, da, 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 da. And they're right. I was still with the different with a different ID. I got pissed on them. It's kind of like what happened right now. Yeah. So, Aries at the end of Aries with Chiron give us identity related issue, but also the wound around business. Um, who are the really disincluded people? So the most underdog of underdogs, the most disincluded people, and the voice that rebels anything that rapes and blame shifts and tries to make crazy the people that present the testimony. That's the story of Beta per se. So the music right now is hot. The music right now is on the money. The music right now is mythically on point. We don't have a lot of moments like this in the music industry. The moments that were rare are now on display. Yeah, I know. Okay, Yofi. If you see me wrapping schnitzel in IKEA, that's that's the client. Um, yep. Is music going to continue to be great? Well, Uranus has 3 more degrees in Taurus. We're not going to have an outer planet in Taurus before 3 years from now, which would be Saturn. One person that has Saturn in Taurus and stellium in Taurus is, of course, talking about Sabrina, Espresso. And we see how she takes the historical themes into making music that stands the test of time. And many other artists out there, on the one hand, social media made it supposedly easier to flourish. Um, the caveat, and I remember that back in 2007, I remember I was talking to a guy in Heidelberg. He was trying to be cautious of Scientology, while the Brotherhoods were all up in his soul. And it was a nice time. We were doing collabos. I didn't have recording a device of anything but my voice. Somebody was playing guitar. Somebody was doing video editing. It was just there. It was not even for the money. It was just mutual creation. But then the caveat, the minute they began with the monetization, the caveat went big, and you know, we had we had a lot of issues. Um, this was a tiny global community growing up, just free of record deals, record company labels, free of anything. We're just making music. Um, and then something happened to Madeleine with the red shoes. By the way, I was singing Tom Waits' I think I was doing also performance for virtues. The entire channel went down. I think it was the Sister Spooky channel. It went down. And I was severely tortured. And I don't think I was the only one who was severely tortured. And then I was trying to figure out where it was coming from. Of course, it was coming from Heidelberg. But probably all around the world because they were trying to make me religious. And that was definitely coming from Israel. The Epsteins. I guess basically. Um, yeah, I was 20 something. They already wanted me to get married and poop children. Preferably as a guise of appearing. I was talking to goyim that God forbid that we wouldn't compare notes. The entire family of my father is connected to the church. I know, but the father was a truck driver. The father of my father. He said he was. How did my mama learn Dutch? As my father's father. Okay. My father's father. You stop castrating people and ritually abuse them. Then we can talk about biological. But my my father's father. Was a truck driver. But I don't know what I heard later. They say a lot of things about truck. I don't know. But anyway, he was a little deaf, so they had to speak loud and clear to him. That's how my mother learned Dutch. He was looking Jew. The family was in church. So back to the music industry. Social media was definitely allowing more people to become influencers, but it also entailed that they would be expected to participate in the same cult that nobody can talk about in Hollywood. Actually, we had a person from Hollywood. She was a filmmaker, but she was in Scientology. And that guy from Heidelberg was like, she's in Scientology. I was like, what's that? I was like, you don't want to know. Like, don't give your details. Don't give. Then he was trying to attack me. I don't know, got drunk or something. And then once the deed is done, the deed is the deed is deed, and everybody went crazy. And then you go to the people who are supposed to treat the crazy. They don't know what to do. It's like everybody is emotional blackmail. They got no. They can offer drugs. Then I get a lady telling me, "Yes, I know that person. They're living around Heidelberg. They have the sun. Where is your moon? And this and that." I say, "Okay, learn astrology. How do I avoid these troubles?" That's how I became a relational astrologer. I wasn't seeking to match make people. I was seeking to prevent. And that's how I found out about AstroSeek. 2007, I was editing my mother's second book. Um, the one with the oil company. The one with the Yeah. People were quoting my mom on social media. So they thought she's with it with them. So if she was with them, we'd be living in an island. By the way, you know what people are attracted to children? because they were raped as children or molested as children, so they're not attracted to old people. The way I know my grandfather wasn't an active pedo, probably, he was not successful in business. He didn't do the job. Um, yeah. So, last deacon of Taurus, people are talking about the actual things. They sing about it, they rebel it. It's overt in the culture. And Saturn Neptune, any Saturn Neptune, the mythical idols that we had, particularly in the entertainment industry, we see a reality check. For example, I had no idea that Tina Knowles could have been genetically associated with Tina Turner. And when you see the face one next to the other, I was like, oh my God, they look alike. They look alike. They look cloned. They look family. People really hate when it comes to their idols. Okay, Michael Jackson. Why? Because Michael Jackson put it out there. By the way, the song in which he put it out there was a mafia person that blocked the city so that they can film that video. The myth of mafia people, because he liked Michael Jackson. They don't really care about us. Okay, so Michael Jackson putting it out there so people don't like to think about it. That's why I said, listen to Alondra and see how Epstein was created. People are one kidnapping away from becoming those things. That was the Holocaust. And that's what they do in the detainment centers or in the digital concentration camp they're building in Palestine that would, of course, not contribute to the security of the civilians that they so-called wanted to protect in Israel. Yeah, people are still being bombed in the same settlements or not, are still being bombed. Mama Taliban's back in Gaza. Women still being trafficked. Palestinian women by Palestinian women. Jewish women by Jewish women and men. Christian people by Christian people. It's like, hey, believe in Jesus. Do you mean Jesuit? I wonder if we'll have a Baha'i. Epstein. So this is also the deacon of Taurus, where the people that we really didn't like to acknowledge that they're Epsteinian. Bless you. It's that's the truth. Um, Neptune Aries is also going to be a contributing factor. Okay, Neptune in Pisces, the mythical of mythical, the religious flair. Neptune Aries is conflictual, so film becomes of war, of conflict. And we will be in conflict also about the materia. What minerals, what substance, are the is the technology made of? The labor conditions, okay, with Uranus and Gemini, the labor conditions in the film industry. How myth and cult work together. Okay, Neptune sextile Pluto. I remember when we were sitting in class with Dover Kosashvili. Okay, I studied filmmaking, and the way he would open a class was like, Almaz said it. Okay, he would let a person screen their movie, and I was like, what is the movie about? And it was so fucking scary that nobody could reply. Um, and famous film director, kind of like the Israeli Emir Kusturica. Into deep as fuck in all these Epsteining. Sexual harassment as fuck in all the movies. I'm not even talking Menachem Golan. When I saw certain people, politique, okay, talking about, yeah, they went, so Israel and so on and so forth, and I'm like, I know there were Menachem Golan in there. Everybody knows what that means. It's not the girls, it's not party, there's nothing party in there. Okay, people don't complain about amazing sex. 8's a treason cult. Treason and actually sex that is good before, during, and after. And I began to set that standard in 2007, right at the Madeleine rituals. I said good sex is good before, during, and after. What does it take for have a sexual experience? The one enjoys before, during, and after. The one is saying, I love this. Definitely no substances, because substance is the Russian roulette. Definitely requires good quality of self-pleasure. How are we going to communicate? Okay, what's the grand missing? What is this thing we call love? Oh, wait a second, but love people want to have relationships, children. Okay, where is the problem about it? This economy, let's talk about the economy, is Epstein. What's about the economy? Harm sexuality also. How come? They rape children and they make it the new normal. People can't orgasm without dissociation. Nobody was talking about this at the time. Nobody was talking about it. People are trying to have all kind of relational teaching. Erg fum. Bless you. What about sexual compatibility? All the relational theories. Okay, again, Uranus and Taurus, all the same themes, because they express themselves in the music. This is where we hear people saying, "Oh, sex is everywhere." That's not sex. That's orgasming on dissociation because of rape. It's not even sex. But we don't even know something different. So the music is unapologetic, but it's unapologetic around the core issues of sexuality. Okay, Uranus trines Pluto. My prediction is going to continue to be good. It's going to go into Gemini. Now, Gemini has its own thing. I think Marilyn Monroe was a Gemini. Okay, it definitely has its own thing. When I think it was 2007 when everything started to go on YouTube, and I was looking at the famous videos and so on. I was like, why is Marilyn Monroe that I thought she was like this big sex symbol? Why is she so bitter? I would expect a sex symbol to be very, enjoying sex, orgasmic, and so she ain't had an orgasm until she was like 30 something. Well, Sophia Isela explains. But I was like, wait a second. This was supposed to be the most sexy woman on earth, and she's unhappy sexually. And the minute she connects with sexuality, her love life are looking nothing like that. But eventually she was like looking for a father. I think Uranus was in Libra in the 70s. And he moved there, I think, right afterwards Pluto moved in. Yeah, Neptune was in Sag in the 70s as well. The very beginning of the 80s. I already have Neptune in Capricorn 1 degree, and I'm born in 84. Neptune definitely tells of what kind of movies will we make, what kind of alternative reality now. In Aries, it's very real because Mars is such a concrete, it's a real sign. Neptune in Aquarius, we begin to talk about lucid dreaming, bless you. Then in Pisces, it was about manifestation, belief, the power of belief. Neptune in Aries, the dream is so vivid. Well, a lot of people ask, is it AI or not? Um, and of course, war, conflicts, but also innovation. Think about the kaleidoscope. Think about the first Lumiere. It's Lumiere o'clock. People are going to be making their own version of whatever movie making technology or alternative reality technology. The music will probably be about the ideal self, the I am, um, the superhuman. Unfortunately, is very Aries Neptune, because Neptune is the ideal and Aries is basically, human. So it's the Superman. The ideal, and that can also be Irish because really, the face, the ideal face, the ideal bone structure, the ideal bloodline, the Nibelungen. Okay, Übermensch, Nibelungen, the Nazi film industry. Um, I don't remember when Neptune was at the 1800s. What's more, I believe the feminist themes will will be expressed more as labor rights than the way they are in Taurus. And yet we shan't forget that the Pluto Geminis were the ones that were leading the Second World War, in the aftermath of which women got the right to vote and their own bank account. Okay, they began to be a distinct financial entity and a distinct legislative entity. Um, so we wouldn't see feminism in the way we see it with Leo, Taurus, or Libra, but we would see it expressed as um, the labor rights. We'll probably see it as suffragist, uh, and something to the equivalent of suffragists. The topic around rape and not rape will continue to be an issue in the brotherhoods, and the rape of children, rape of boys, will be more put to scrutiny or idealized. Okay, the patronage. I had astrological colleagues that were talking about how good it would be if we would return to the age of the patronage when it comes to training in astrology. And like, that means boys raping boys. That means Da Vinci being raped to by as an apprentice, and as why did Da Vinci was honored by the Medicis, but Da Vinci went to a woman patron because the men were they were very very gay. But and this is also how, because pedophilia was so ingrained, then homosexual relationships were one in one were as one with pedophilia, because they usually were in the context of the clergy, apprenticeship, the patronage, and so on and so forth. It was not two consenting adults. Okay? Actual LGBTQ people that are not rapey have a very difficult time, because historically that was pedophilia. And when women began to join the fraternities and sororities, same. I was pinpointing that, I think, 3 or 5 years ago, for COVID. I think I was already speaking up about that. Um, okay, because anybody that studied even one course in art, and of course I took the Da Vinci one, they probably as a listener, okay, most of the courses I didn't take as registered, but you register to university so you can listen out on all the courses. But basically, anybody that took even one course knows about the apprenticeship, know that it was all molestation. Is it not good to have a mentor? Let me tell you that there are a lot of things that I was supported, even though okay, I didn't go through. How should I say that? I didn't go through the registry of making a certification. Were there not people supporting me, even almost forcing me to do talismans? Now, I can't say for sure who, because I don't know for sure, and they use different energies. So, but definitely, some of that was trying to take me down, and some of that was trying to build me up. Okay, and because people knew I had an issue, people knew I come from academia and why I took the break from academia. Yeah, I was very honest and outspoken about that. It was not just the money issue. They make it a lot of the programs. They do consider people like financially and stuff, um, but it is that issue. Okay, it's the Epstein issue. Is it not good to have a mentor, to have somebody that wakes you up and like, okay, there's a good election now and so on and so forth? Yeah, it's amazing. Even the presence that there is the acceptance into the field, or the urge to come into the field. Yes, it is amazing, and I'm very grateful for that. And the reason that I'm talking about that is so that we can address that, so that people won't have to go through molestation, ritual rites, and the affiliated gatekeeping. And in that way, we can have the issue where, let's say, if I was to give uh, astrological readings to people that deal with difficult psychological, I don't know, transits and so on, of course I would need to have somebody to turn to. I would need to have, in psychology, they call it supervisor. But it can't be done in an Epstein context. Of course, why did I go to actually have a certification in aromatherapy? It's quite important to know that that essential oils don't dilute in water, or that there are certain oils that negate comadine or blood pressure meds. Or if I give something to patient that's going through chemotherapy, it's going to evacuate the chemo because it's a detox. Or not to give carrot seed oil to a pregnant woman that is not if we don't want the womb to contract and to birth the baby ahead of time. Okay, those things are important to learn from people that know the craft. It's not that there's no reason to have a training or apprenticeship. It's that the molestation factor is ruining what we are supposed to be gaining, which is expertise. Because we are supposed to be trusted to be doing the wrong thing, to be given the wrong prescription. If our patient, God forbid, recovers, I know that my second course teacher in aromatherapy, they let her buy a house. And she was tending to the topic of fertility. Then they tortured her. She was on a mission so that people will not have surgeries to remove the womb unnecessarily. Okay? And that person later tries to harm, to traffic. Basically, it's participation in something that would cause ritual sacrifice, rape, trafficking. And if the person survives, then they would have to be the trafficker. Okay? It is indeed superhuman to deal with what I've been dealing with. People talk about a lot of survivors. Talk about every other day somebody talks about Anna Kaluga. Say they wouldn't let her speak. They wouldn't let her speak. Or they wouldn't leave her. Because it's indeed superhuman challenge to speak. To speak. It's, how should I say? If you don't speak, you're gonna get some life-risking ailment. If you do speak, then you deal with other life-risking things. And the music that we hear right now is exactly that. The art that we see. People were saying music at the age of Pisces was not good. Okay, Neptune in Pisces. Um, I don't know. I think it just went missing. Missing in the algorithm. Uranus in Aries was the black right movement, the Black Lives Matter, and that was Lemonade. The time that Lemonade came out, it was the Me Too. I did a lot of homages to culture in sugar-free lemonade. The sugar-free lemonade is entire. Okay. Um, Again, it was a non-for-profit satire. I wasn't trying to make money. I was trying to stay alive, expressing myself. And that was later referred by people that were set out to traffic me. They were being paid and funded by classified project to do such a thing. Through MK Often. Okay? And so eventually I became the first astrologer that talks about MK Often. And by the way, astrology was where I was escaping academia. Yeah. Um, yes, I talked about the NATO, the anti-NATO thingy. Probably Neptune in Aries and Chiron conjoining the Rahu of NATO. Chiron Aries NATO. Okay, some cows around, because I know that people expect me to not abandon the coverage for what's NATOing. So So that is stuff other than music. The house of NATO will probably be polarity or civil war clock within NATO. It's also the ingress to the Uranus return of NATO. Um, Again, we have to be prepared that there's not another century for Gladio. And that we won't see that by the 2060s. So whatever is done now is set to be dissolved by the 2060s, and set to be fought or reconsidered completely by the 2060s, where Aries will already be in Taurus. Saturn and Neptune are going to go over the stellium in Aries for NATO. We're going to have a stellium in Aries in April. Again, sidereally, it's Pisces, most of it. The cracking of the egg, okay, and the breaking of the water, the baby is born. That baby is Aries also tropically. Okay, we're gonna have April. We're gonna have to ask ourselves, what are we birthing? What is it that we call freedom or liberation? You can never hold back spring. It's definitely going to be a spring of nations or something of that sort. Um, Very big time. By then, Saturn would have gone all the way to the middle decan. It means it would go over the, I think, Mercury, definitely Mercury, Mars, and Venus for NATO. And now Chiron is going through the Rahu, so we see those um, demonstrations in Italy. And with the 10th house, definitely, it's not going to be a peaceful calling for war. The BRICS countries probably protesting as well. My colleagues from Slavic nations, representation of Slavic astrology, talking about the fact that people will rebel, that people will not want to war. And again, people are a lot less naive about it. They see, if United States does a trade on Greenland for the rare earth minerals, Congo's rare earth minerals being declared blood minerals, that's going to affect, that's going to create a lot of black market for rare earth minerals. Saturn, Mars can be black market. Saturn, black, Mars market. So black market of real estate, of weapon trade. And unfortunately of boys in particular, young men, young soldiers. This doesn't denote child, it can be more adolescent. It can be boys, but it can be adolescents, and they could be traded as soldiers. The trade in sovereign nation, as we saw at Somaliland. Astrological considerations for declarations of independence on the NATO, on the NATO discussion of Greenland with Trump. No, here is the thing. Mark Rutte has a Pluto, Uranus in Virgo. I got Uranus in Sag. Trump got and NATO got Uranus in Gemini. um, More things to think about. Venus and Jupiter are going to meet with Procyon again. That's also going to be some okay, because Venus is music and art, and Jupiter, Venus. Okay, some big art, big launches. I don't know about the music industry when Venupiter met. Oh, I was recording something. Um, yeah, when Venupiter met with Hermes, somebody wanted to take control over my voice. She was so funny. It was actually it was actually good musician. It was not his job, but I'm like, okay, somebody's that eager to have a collab with me. Um, so yeah, more things, more things, more things. Lilith Sag. Lilith is 5 degrees Sag. While Neptune still sextiles Pluto, we're going to continue the trend of movies and music being extremely taboo, discussing extremely um, taboo stuff. I predict that there's going to be some music about the boys relations. Okay, the brotherhoods. I think they tried to neutralize already one artist that was on the verge of um, Kendrick Lamar was pretty close to striking A minor, um, but I think it's going to be more. It's going to go from the Me Too pinpointing women to boys and boys, and I'm like, finally the boys speak. We've already seen that with the Rahu eclipses, Rahu in Aries, Chiron in Aries, a little bit of the previous Saturn Neptune in Aries, and I believe we will continue to see that trend. Before they attack women, they attack one another, and then they take it out on women because they kind of unite against the common enemy. Um, but if they tackle the what's happened within, then that's the core issue. That's where it begins. Before they assault women, they assault one another. And those are considered the what people need to do to get information or to study or to have business or to have a house even. um, and I think we're going to see that in film, in music. There were some major homosexual movies, but they were just the ideation phase. They weren't talking about the actual stuff. They weren't talking about the rape. They weren't talking about um, Chiron Aries. We might see the LGBTQ discussing um, also the rape related stuff there. And I think that those topics are really around Uranus in Taurus. Later, I don't know if they would be exposing. It would be coming more from extortion cults trying to take down one another. Okay, sadly, the onset, the design of extortion cult is to expose and dispose, so they will be exposing the pedos that they manufacture to set them to expose them. And sadly enough, that's probably the context in which things are going to be exposed, and sadly enough, it's going to bring that persecution